Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ivan Tomokov here from Razor Sharp Digital, the number one human marketing agency in the world, where we help companies and entrepreneurs expand their digital footprint using multi-channel marketing, emotional engagement, and human-to-human business practices. Today, I want to talk about investing in yourself, focusing on yourself. One of the things that has helped me tremendously become a better version of myself is by focusing on the things that are going to make me a better person. Investing into personal development, investing into health, investing into fitness, investing into further self education. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about today on this podcast, and mind you, I'm testing out something a little different this time around. Um, I wanted to let you guys know that if this has worked for me, it can work for you as well. And what I'm particularly referring to here is investing in yourself. Too many people, too many of you are focusing on what everybody else is doing, especially when it comes to social media. Everybody is looking at how many likes is someone else getting on their post, or how many comments are they getting, who's commenting on their posts, and how much clout are they building. None of that really matters, because you'll never get to that point where someone else has gotten without first and foremost focusing on yourself. And I'm sharing this with you because over the last couple of months, so to most people, when COVID-19 hit and the tail end of March and then into April, a lot of people were in shock. A lot of people were worried about their job. A lot of people filed for unemployment. We saw millions and millions of people who filed for unemployment. And in fact, it's probably been one of the highest unemployment filings in history. And it's because a lot of people were in a state of fear. A lot of people were afraid to spend. A lot of people were afraid to, step outside of their house, to socialize with others. And I'm going to be honest with you, you can only live in fear for so long, because that is an encapsulated mindset, an encapsulated approach that is counterintuitive to you as a human being. And what I did over the last couple of months, and I want to share with you guys, is that instead of focusing so much on what's happening with the pandemic and worrying about what if, because in the reality of things, there's always a what if. You could literally walk outside the door of your house today and get hit by a car. That's the inevitable. It can happen to anyone, anywhere. But I think shifting your mindset towards the fact that, look, everyone has potential. You have potential. You were put on this planet for a reason by God. You were put on this planet because you were meant to do something. And the things that I'm talking about here, are essential to your growth. That can help you grow as a person, can help you grow your business. It has helped me grow my business, because what I specifically did in the months of March, April, and May is that I focused on myself. I prioritized myself. I put an emphasis on what is going to make me a better person first and foremost. And as a result, has been able to grow my business. I just hired my first full-time employee, which absolutely stuff about. There's many more projects coming down the pike, but all of that, before any of that happened, was a direct result of the things that I worked on myself first and foremost. You see, if you can't trust yourself, if you can't believe in yourself, if you don't have self-confidence, nobody else is going to get that impression from you. So you have to work on yourself, work on your mindset, on your personal development, eating healthier, exercising. So, and just to share some things in regards to that with you guys is, for instance, I've been a cyclist for 6 years now. Even to this day, I have no freaking idea what enticed me to start cycling 6 years ago, where I literally just went online, purchased a $300 road bike with handlebars, and decided that I was going to start cycling. But to be honest with you, it was probably one of the best things that I have ever done for myself, simply because it has allowed me to grow as a person. Not necessarily from an endurance standpoint, because I'm a cyclist. It has helped me really develop more focus and clarity around the things that are important to me. And that is something that everyone needs to do. If you want guidance, if you want better direction, if you want to have fulfillment, if you want to have happiness in life and in business, you need to invest in yourself. You need to focus on yourself first and foremost. I think with social media, what's happening right now, too many people are so worried about what everyone else is doing. I know amidst this pandemic, I saw so many people in my social media feeds talking about COVID-19 and fear, and talking about fake news. Honestly, you could probably be more productive by focusing on yourself as opposed to going out there and venting on social media. So that's just my take on this. And honestly, that's what I did. I stopped paying attention to the news. I stopped paying attention to people who were venting about COVID-19. Not that I was ignoring the problem. That wasn't it. Mind you, I have a family member with an autoimmune disorder. So we had to be extra cautious, and we still are extra cautious. There's a difference between being cautious and living in the state of fear. And that is what a lot of people, I think, have done. Millions and millions of Americans chose to live in a state of fear and still are choosing to live in a state of fear. And that is exactly what is prohibiting you from becoming yourself. I have the a continuous work in progress. In fact, something that I learned earlier this year that I want to share with you is that some of the most successful people in the world are lifelong learners. And the sooner that you embrace that, the sooner you understand that being a lifelong student is probably one of the most important things, the faster you are going to be able to become the best version of yourself. And that translates to everything. So it is the best version of yourself. That is what you need to figure out. Do you have shortcomings? Do you have weaknesses? Are you making continuous mistakes? What do you need to do to improve to become the best version of yourself? And honestly, I think that the things that I've personally done over the last couple of months have attributed to the results that are now currently happening. And that's what I want you guys to understand. That is why I'm doing this broadcast, is because I'm sharing the experiences that I have had personally that has attributed to not only becoming happier as a person, feeling more whole, but also have generated success with my business. Look, you don't need to be liked by everybody. I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, that everyone has, is just that they feel like need to have acceptance and validation from everyone else out there. I'm going to be honest with you that as soon as you turn on optimism, positivity, and realize that, you know what, there is no alternative to that. There is skepticism, and negativity will never get you to move forward, ever. I know there's too many narcissistic people in social media as well, not to be mistaken with sarcastic, because that's a little different. But there's too many narcissistic people out there. And that's what I want you guys to understand, is that as soon as you embrace optimism, positivity, and really start thinking outside of the box in terms of who can you become, the best version of yourself, what it is that you are missing in your life, in your business, that you need to improve upon, I am telling you, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. We've seen with the most successful people in the world. Recently, in fact, speaking of success, Elon Musk, who I admire very much so, is someone that was very heavily misconstrued, and it still is, and will continue to be. You want to know why? It's because years ago, most automotive makers couldn't quite fathom the fact that an all electric automobile company would ever exist. And later on, when SpaceX came around, and now Falcon X, I believe, was the first manned mission since 2011. SpaceX is building rockets for NASA. Mind you, years ago, Elon Musk was probably one of the most misconstrued people. People didn't understand why doing was doing, and said people don't need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. As long as you have peace, as long as you have fulfillment, as long as you feel that you are accomplishing the things that you want to do, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, nor should you pay attention to what everyone else is doing. I'm telling you this is because, and by the way, if you haven't signed up for my podcast, The Roz Project, I encourage you to do that. There's a lot of things I talk about on the most successful people in the world I have been able to interview on my podcast. And that has been as a result of focusing on myself and doing the things that matter to me most. That is what I want you guys to do. The world needs change. We need to be contributing to the world. We need to be constantly being innovative. We need to be constantly being curious about other ways that we can contribute to the world and to society. And so what you're doing for yourself, self-improvement, personal development, mindset, health, fitness, yes, it will first and foremost benefit you. That is what it's all about. Because if you ask me, you live one life. You live only once. And in many instances, you have only one chance to make something right, to accomplish something. And that's what I want you guys to think about. I will tell you this. Every single day on Messenger, on any other social platform, LinkedIn, I either get someone who tries to sell me, someone who tries to sabotage me, someone who tries to push me away from the things that are important to me. And for a long period of time, especially through my 20s, I allowed that. I allowed other people's opinions. And I think this is what you guys are doing. You're allowing society and the world and others to dictate the outcome of your journey, to dictate the path that you are taking to become the best version of yourself. And if you haven't watched my story earlier today, I wanted to touch upon this a little bit. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he's also a client, by the way. Someone that I've known for quite a while now. It started out as a Facebook friend, and then I actually met him in person because he's a local guy. And he would call me sometimes several times a week, and he would ask me for advice. He would ask me for my opinion. Yesterday, he called me and told me about a friend of his that he hasn't really communicated with for about 4 months. He said, this is a really good friend of mine, but, he just had a heart attack. And so I'm not exactly sure, how to act or what I should do. And so when someone comes to me for advice, it feels very rewarding. And by the end of our conversation, I made him realize that he was about to make a really big mistake and burn a bridge of a very long friendship that he had with someone else over assumptions that he was making based on materialistic things. Hey, someone didn't call you, or someone didn't respond to your text message, right? And that is really rewarding to me, because anytime someone asks for advice, for my opinion, and then even go as far as honoring that, it makes my heart full, because it makes me realize that I just made an impact in someone's life. I just guided someone to make better choices that would ultimately benefit him. Because that's just another thing that you guys need to understand. The choices that you make and the actions that you take are yours. You get to live with the consequences. You get to live with those outcomes, whether they're good or bad. And you're going to have a lot of good outcomes, but you're going to have a lot of bad outcomes. But the biggest thing that I want you to remember here is when you start focusing on yourself, what is important to you? What matters to you the most? Do you want to build a business? Do you want to buy that big house? Do you want to make a lot of money? What is it that you want? You are the person that has to define that and then focus relentlessly on those things. I mean, I'll give you a prime example about focusing on myself. So for those of you that don't know, I have a digital agency by the name of Razor Sharp Digital. We are the #1 human marketing agency on Google in the world. And we work with a lot of different small to mid-sized businesses, some corporations also, and entrepreneurs, helping them build or expand their digital footprint using multi-channel marketing, emotional engagement, and human-to-human business practices. Now, 4 years ago, when I started Razor Sharp Digital and made an emphasis to make this the #1 human marketing agency in the world, everyone laughed at me. Everyone thought that, there's no such thing as a human marketing brand. There's no such thing as a human-centric brand. What's funny about that is 4 years later, we're even seeing some of the biggest corporations in the world doing just that, looking for ways to humanize, to personalize the experience, the interactions that they have with their customers, now more than ever. And it's mainly due to the fact that the digital marketplace we live in this digital world, in the social world, has become a lot more noisy, a lot more saturated, a lot more competitive. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is that 4 years ago, I made the decision to focus on myself because I believe that that was my calling. And I feel like I've just started with Razor Sharp Digital. And the reason I'm sharing all of this with you is that if I can do it, you can do it. I know you can. In fact, one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing right now is veering more into doing some life coaching also, perhaps this year. Obviously, that is something that, I've wanted to do. If you're someone that is struggling, that you're struggling to find guidance, you're struggling to find your purpose, you need some advice, you need someone to help you carve that path, I can help you do that. I've been down a very long road with a lot of adversity. I know it's challenging. I know it's hard. I know that there's always someone out there who's going to try to steer you away. There's always going to be someone out there or many people who are going to tell you that, no, you're incapable. You're not talented. You're not intelligent enough. You don't have the money to start a business. But you know what? When you focus on yourself and really become truly resilient and committed to yourself, some amazing things happen. It's almost mind-boggling. I don't even think I have the words to truly describe it. What the feeling is when you weed out all the noise in the world and you focus on yourself. When I focused on my podcast, The Roz Project, I started getting reviews and people saying, this is one of the best podcasts that I've listened to. Ivan, you're direct, you're real, you're raw, you're unconventional, 100% transparent. And honestly, I don't know if you guys have been following the news, but, for a while there, everybody was talking about the $100 million deal that Joe Rogan got with Spotify. And basically, for the fact that, which, by the way, if you don't know who Joe Rogan is, he's a comedian and also a podcaster. Among some of the most famous guests that he's had on there include Elon Musk, where I think they were smoking a cigar or a joint, I believe, on live video, right? So that also gave me hope and encouragement that, following my purpose, following my mission, following my calling to become the best version of myself by focusing on myself. So that was my podcast. Doing my first official TV interview earlier this year. By the way, if you haven't checked it out, you can watch it on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ivan Temelkov, on my website, ivantemelkov.com, and my company website, razorsharpdigital.com, which, by the way, we're in the process of like fully blowing out and redoing the razorsharpdigital.com website to bring it into modern day. That is a website that's 4 years old, mind you. That's a website that I built, when I started out of the gate. And so the reason I'm sharing all this with you guys is that there's too many of you out there who want everything. You're swayed by the cars on Instagram. You're swayed by the models. You're swayed by everything else that everybody is telling you. But the only thing you're not doing is focusing on yourself. And if you ask me, one of my biggest regrets looking back, into my 20s, into my late teens, also 18, 19, 20-year-old Ivan, is this that if there was something that I would do different, would be to focus on myself, because I have been blessed by so many things. And I'm very grateful for that. In fact, there's times when I try to remind myself of how grateful I am with everything that I have in my life. But you know what is self-belief was probably one of the biggest things that I was missing. Not that I wasn't talented, not that I wasn't skilled, not that I wasn't unwilling. It was lack of self-belief. And that is the one thing that I want to emphasize in this broadcast today, is that you have to develop a strong self-belief. Honestly, for me, I have been fortunate enough to meet some amazing people. I have some amazing people in my life, being a part of the Arte organization led by Andy Frizella and Ed Milet also. And being able to communicate via social media over the last 20 plus years with some amazing people. But at the core, it was a lack of self-belief for me. That is what I want you guys to understand. I want you to understand that you need to develop that self-belief and focus on yourself. When you focus on yourself is when some amazing things are going to happen. I mean, you guys are not seeing this, but I'm directly in front of two large 24-inch monitors that I was able to purchase recently, in addition to a brand new MacBook Pro. That this is the reason why I can actually do this broadcast. The microphone, which I've actually had for a while, the camera as well. But that has been a direct result of focusing on myself. You need to focus on yourself, okay? I know you can do it. I know you can become the best version of yourself. If you're struggling with depression, stress, anxiety, I know it's very common as an entrepreneur. I struggle with those things, and I have hidden a lot of those things. If there's something that I would have done differently, is that I would have probably reached out to speak with someone in regards to this, to get some advice, to get some guidance. I will tell you this, that I can be stubborn as well, and I can be very impatient too. But those are all things that I have worked on over the years to help improve. Please understand that anything that is worthwhile will take time. And it starts with focusing on yourself, focusing on what's important to you, and realizing that you live one life. And you will have most likely one chance in most instances. Most people have only one chance. If you have two chances, consider yourself lucky. And that's what I want you guys to take away from this broadcast. If you're struggling, I want to talk with you. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not forcing you to buy anything. I just want to have a conversation with you. Feel free to reach out to me on Messenger or on any platform. I believe we are broadcasting here, let's see, on Human Marketing Alliance group, which is my Facebook group that I run, my Facebook profile, my Facebook business page, also on Periscope. And I believe that we are streaming to YouTube right now as well. So I want you guys to reach out. I've been there. I know what it feels like. And I know what it takes to focus on yourself. I can help guide you in that direction if you need some help. Thank you so much for watching the stream. I'm actually pretty excited about this, simply because I think it's a new chapter in everything that we're about to do for the remainder of the year, everything that we're going to do with Razor Sharp Digital. Have an official introduction of Jessica also that is slated, and that's going to be going out on our social media platforms, social media channels. Please make sure that you're following Razor Sharp Digital everywhere on social media. We're going to have an announcement for that as well. And again, guys, remember, focus on yourself. You have so much value, so much potential that you probably don't even know. And if you need to talk with someone, I'm always here. Have a fabulous day. God bless you all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.